The most important chapter in the Boruto manga right now is the introduction of a new Otsutsuki god figure named Shirbai. This is based on Amado's explanation to Shikamaru and Naruto when he was talking about Ida and Demon. According to Amado, Shirbai is an Otsutsuki god who has existed for a long time. However, there is no detailed explanation about this. Even so, Amado assured Shikamaru and Naruto that Shirbai no longer exists, that he is dead. Only his body remains from the godly Otsutsuki figure. Shirbai's DNA was then used by Amado as the foundation to create Ida and Demon. According to Amado, Ida's Senrigan ability and Demon's reflection power are two of Shirbai's devastating abilities. However, their power levels are still far below Shirbai's. Besides those, Shirbai also possessed other formidable powers beyond Senrigan and reflection. One possible direction the Boruto story could take involving Shirbai is that he may become the final villain in the Boruto series. Perhaps, Shirbai will fulfill the prophecy that Momoshiki once told Boruto. Momoshiki had warned Boruto that his blue eyes would bring great destruction. Boruto is also destined to face a tragic fate. It's possible that Shirbai will be the cause of all that destruction, triggered by Boruto's Jugen Eye, which might awaken the Otsutsuki god. On the other hand, there's also speculation that Shirbai's appearance at the end of the series might eventually force Kawaki and Boruto to unite. This way, they would be able to combine their strength and defeat the Otsutsuki god. For now, it's still too early to predict what will happen next with Shirbai's character. However, judging from the clues and key points in the manga so far, it doesn't seem too far-fetched to speculate like that. After all, we've seen how the Otsutsuki clan has played a major role throughout the Naruto story, even continuing into Boruto, always posing a huge threat to Earth. It turns out that Shirbai is not just an ordinary Otsutsuki. He is actually an Otsutsuki god known for being immensely powerful, terrifying, and unbeatable. Shirbai is a godly Otsutsuki figure who has existed for a very long time. He has lived for thousands of years. So how was he able to live eternally? The secret lies in the karma technique. According to Amado's explanation, Shirbai may have originally been a normal Otsutsuki who eventually evolved into a god. He consumed many chakra fruits, which transformed him into a terrifying entity. Even so, Amado assured Shikamaru and Naruto that Shirbai is no longer around, that he's already dead. But how could someone with such immense power die? That's actually been a big question for Amado himself. He mentioned that he's not sure whether someone managed to kill Shirbai or if there's another reason. However, Amado has his own theory, that Shirbai might have evolved to the point where he no longer needed a physical body. His powers had grown so immense that his body may no longer have been able to contain them. As Amado mentioned, Shirbai is indeed already dead, although the cause of his death is unknown. However, what's interesting is how Shirbai's death did not result in the destruction of his body. Amado explained that his body still remained after his death. It is currently unknown where his body is now. Perhaps Shirbai's body is buried on another planet or in a different dimension. It could also be that his body is on Earth, hidden in some secret location. Could this be related to Shirbai's evolution into an Otsutsuki god? It's possible. However, there's also a chance that this is something that commonly happens to Otsutsuki beings. As an Otsutsuki god, it's not surprising if his power level had far surpassed human understanding and capability. This is also what Amado explained about his overwhelming power. But that's not all. Shirbai was apparently able to create massive disasters or natural phenomena with ease. For example, he could create massive tidal waves and storms with just a swing of his hand. He could also summon huge, deadly lightning strikes when enraged. It's still unknown what other powers he might have had, but one thing is certain, his power level was truly immense. Masashi Kishimoto introduced a new power system in the world of Boruto called Shinjutsu. This powerful and deadly technique belongs to the Otsutsuki clan and plays a very important role, especially in the development of the shinobi world. So, what exactly is Shinjutsu? In Chapter 75 of the Boruto, Naruto Next Generation's manga series, Amado finally reveals shocking facts about several things. Still discussing Shirbai's power, Amado explained that he possessed an extraordinary technique considered the ancestor of both ninjutsu and other types of jutsu. This power is called Shinjutsu. According to him, Shinjutsu is not ninjutsu, and it's definitely not sage mode either. It is something entirely different from both. In essence, this power resembles more of a miraculous phenomenon. Ida's Senrigan, Demon's Reflection, and Sukuna Hikona and Dekokuten, abilities that Kawaki inherited from Ishiki, are all part of Shinjutsu. Even karma is considered a form of shinjutsu. Indirectly, Amato reveals that ninjutsu, genjutsu, and other techniques actually originated from shinjutsu, as attempts by others to imitate its overwhelming phenomena. As Amato explained in the chapter, shinjutsu is a tremendous power that belongs to the Otsutsuki god, Shirbai Otsutsuki. It is a technique or ability of immense and terrifying power. So, what is the difference between shinjutsu and ninjutsu? When Shirbai used his powerful shinjutsu abilities, he didn't need to perform any hand signs or techniques, he only had to move his hand. Much like an elemental bender in the Avatar series, Shirbai only needed to wave his hand. In fact, when he was angry, it wasn't impossible for storms and massive lightning bolts to appear as a result. Meanwhile, ninjutsu is a person's attempt to imitate or recreate all the overwhelming phenomena of shinjutsu through various hand movements, signs, and by controlling the chakra within their body. Without chakra, of course, they wouldn't be able to use ninjutsu at all. Shinjutsu has clearly been proven to be far more powerful and terrifying than ninjutsu, as Amato explained. He also described just how devastating Shirbai's powers were, which he could unleash simply by moving his hand. Moreover, the sheer might of shinjutsu has already appeared throughout the Boruto story up to this point. So far, only 6 powerful abilities are known to be part of shinjutsu, such as Senrigan and Karma, as mentioned earlier. However, considering that Kishimoto is beginning to introduce these powerful techniques, it's very likely that more jutsu or abilities will emerge and become classified as shinjutsu, especially since we still haven't seen the full extent of Ida's, demons, or even Code's powers. So, with how terrifying shinjutsu is there a way to counter or match its power in the Boruto world? Given that Shirbai is said to be dead, although how he died remains a mystery, it means that there must be a way to rival or even surpass shinjutsu. The only possible way to counter shinjutsu may be through karma. The way Kishimoto introduced karma as a core element in the Boruto series clearly serves a purpose. One possibility is that it was intended to rival the techniques or powers of shinjutsu. Since karma is a part of shinjutsu, it makes sense that this technique could be the way to counter the power of a god. And perhaps, this is also the reason why Boruto and Kawaki have become 2 important figures who will serve as key characters in the story moving forward. Now, I'd also like to talk about some of the fans' complaints about the Boruto series. One of the most common criticisms from fans of Boruto, Naruto Next Generations is how older characters, like Uchiha Sasuke, have started to be pushed aside in the story. Especially now, when Naruto and others are facing major, dangerous threats such as Code, and of course, Momoshiki Otsutsuki. However, it seems that Masashi Kishimoto has now found an effective way and formula to bring back Sasuke's relevance in the story, especially with the looming return of Momoshiki and the fact that Sasuke no longer has his Rinnegan. As we know, Sasuke lost his most powerful dojutsu during the battle against Ishiki. Sasuke was caught off guard when Momoshiki took control of Boruto's body and stabbed his eye. This was clearly a major loss, both for Sasuke himself and for the Konoha side. Not only did the Rinnegan allow Sasuke to teleport between dimensions, but it also played a crucial role in protecting Konoha and the Earth from various threats. This has led some fans to doubt what Sasuke's fate will be moving forward. Some believe this is Kishimoto's way of gradually weakening and phasing out Sasuke. Others even speculate that it could be a foreshadowing of his death. However, Chapter 73 gave confirmation that Sasuke can still be a valuable asset, or even a key, to facing Momoshiki. It seems that Momoshiki is still not truly dead, as he used part of the Otsutsukification process to save Boruto's life. Technically, this prevented Momoshiki from fully reincarnating. As a result, Boruto is no longer a perfect vessel for the Otsutsuki. Even so, Momoshiki has returned, as seen in chapters 72 and 73. In chapter 72, Momoshiki reappears and tells Boruto that sooner or later, he will once again be able to control or take over his body. According to him, this has all been foretold in a prophecy of the future that he has seen. Then, Momoshiki appears again in chapter 73. In that chapter, we see that Kawaki can actually see Momoshiki standing beside Boruto. Momoshiki himself is one of the Otsutsuki who once tried to destroy Konoha, before Sasuke and Naruto managed to stop him. This time, however, the mission to destroy Konoha feels deeply personal for Momoshiki. He harbors intense anger and hatred toward the village and the shinobi who stopped him. Even though the Rinnegan was Sasuke's strongest weapon, he remains one of the greatest and most powerful shinobi in the world. This means he still possesses many other valuable abilities. Currently, Sasuke is similar to Peter Parker, relying on his own kind of spider sense to detect Momoshiki's presence, something we saw in chapter 73. In that chapter, Sasuke is seen discussing with Naruto the plan for Boruto and Kawaki to live with Ida. The goal of the mission is to monitor her and ensure she doesn't become a threat to Konoha. In the middle of the conversation, Sasuke is suddenly disturbed by a strong presence or aura. He senses that Momoshiki is nearby. Sasuke himself admits that he felt the same sensation as when he previously fought Momoshiki. Although there's no official confirmation yet, speculation suggests that it may be Sasuke's Sharingan that allowed him to perceive Momoshiki's presence. Even Ino and the sensory ninja team were unable to detect him. Based on that, the speculation is that Sasuke's remaining Sharingan may become a vital weapon against Momoshiki. It could help him see, or sense, the Otsutsuki's presence. On the other hand, this could also be useful for Amato and Konoha's research team in developing tools to detect or even defeat Momoshiki. As you know, Sasuke's current Sharingan has already evolved into the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, making him one of the most skilled users of the Sharingan in the Uchiha clan. That's why it makes sense that Sasuke's Sharingan could become another key asset in facing Momoshiki, while also proving that he still plays an important role in the story. Besides being able to help fight Momoshiki, Sasuke may also serve another role through his Sharingan, as a protector of Boruto. With the ability to sense or see Momoshiki's presence, Sasuke could be the one to guard Boruto. It's not impossible that Boruto may again face moments where Momoshiki tries to take over his body. Even though Sarada and Mitsuki have been tasked by Shikamaru to watch over Boruto, it's likely they wouldn't be able to stop him if he's possessed. That's why Sasuke, as his mentor, would become the one to protect Boruto and prevent anything terrible from happening again. Momoshiki is simply waiting for the right moment, when Boruto lets his guard down, to seize control once more. However, with Sasuke's presence, that outcome can certainly be prevented. Another possibility is that if Sasuke manages to find an opening or a method to make Momoshiki become a physical being, he might be able to eliminate the Otsutsuki. The Sharingan could help him with this. That way, Sasuke would continue to be a valuable and effective character in the series. If the Rinnegan doesn't return, then what allows Sasuke to sense Momoshiki's presence? One plausible theory is that the Rinnegan's chakra is still stored within his body. As mentioned earlier, Sasuke is one of the few shinobi, besides Naruto, who received 6 Paths chakra. This is what allowed Sasuke to awaken his Rinnegan. That same Rinnegan helped him fight against the Otsutsuki clan in the Boruto story, from researching Kagaya's dimension and other Otsutsuki realms to defeating other Otsutsuki like Momoshiki. However, Momoshiki eventually got his revenge by destroying Sasuke's eye. This theory includes 2 interesting points. First, it's possible that Sasuke already knew about Momoshiki's surprise attack. Unbeknownst to others, Sasuke may have been planning something big, perhaps even swapping his Rinnegan and Sharingan in advance. Throughout the Naruto franchise, the Uchiha clan has been known for their many tricks and secrets. The appearance of Ida in Konoha further complicates the situation. To make things worse, Code has also arrived in Konoha, threatening Amato's life. Fortunately, Shikamaru and Delta were able to temporarily stop the situation from escalating. Ida is actually one of Amato's creations, just like Code and Kawaki. Ida was originally created by Amato to kill Jigen. She is known to possess incredible abilities, and it's believed that her powers even surpass those of both Jigen and Code. Some of these include the Senrigan, which lets her see everything happening in the world in real time, and her ability to make everyone fall in love with her. In chapter 69, we were introduced to another of Ida's abilities. She cannot be harmed by anyone, because any attack directed at her will be reflected back at the attacker. So far, the only known exception to her power is Kawaki. Her weaknesses, if any, remain unknown. Sasuke returned from his journey to gather intel on Code. He also learned about Ida, though he doesn't yet know the full extent of her abilities. So, how will Sasuke defeat Ida? One predicted approach is for Sasuke to use Genjutsu. Many fans speculate that Genjutsu could counter Ida's abilities. And when it comes to Genjutsu, Sasuke is a master. He could cast a Genjutsu that doesn't harm the target physically, but instead shows Ida all the wrongs she's done and the consequences of her actions. However, this theory has one major flaw. We don't yet know what other powers Ida may have. It's possible that she possesses resistance to mental attacks, such as Genjutsu. If that's the case, then Genjutsu would be useless against her. There is, however, another speculative theory that suggests a different way Sasuke could stop Ida.